All right, YouTube, this is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. Back with another video. This is a reaction. We're going to talk about Tiffany Henyard in Dalton, Illinois. Now, before you engage yourself into listening to this podcast, check your feelings at the door because we finna discuss truth. Truth is this: the black community is tired of race baiting. Race baiting in a time where the destiny of a people and the destiny of a country weighs in the balance. Name calling, shaming tactics, and the things that you use to discredit people who you disagree with, it's not working anymore. It's not working. If you think that Joe Biden isn't uniting the country, you're wrong. This country is more divided than it has ever been. But the difference between the division that you see in the country now is divided between patriots who love God and country and the opposition who loves money, wealth, power, and debauchery. This last battle that we see in this country is over good and evil. It's over the destiny of a people. You want us to sit idly by while you transgender our children, while you usurp power for corrupt purposes, while you go against divine order and you go against the laws of God. And it doesn't make a difference at this point what color you are. So we're gonna check all that at the door. Because I've had friends who've known me all my life. And because I took a position against voting or being on a Democratic plantation, they think something is wrong with me. But when I look at them, I say, how could you vote for people who will transgender your child, who markets nothing but death and destruction to your community, and call it policy? So the race baiting doesn't work if you asking me to choose between what the government says and what God says. And you may ask, what does this have to do with Tiffany Henyard? Tiffany Henyard was voted mayor of a predominantly black city. It has become the most corrupt thing they've ever seen in that city. Fani Willis has done the same thing in Fulton County. So because their skin complexion is close to mine, I should ignore the fact that they're operating out of a Luciferic mentality. And the reason I call it Luciferic is because everything that God says don't do, you say it's permissible and you choose to do. Now, they've created this whole philosophy of the black woman is the least protected and the most disrespected in the country. That came from Malcolm X. Malcolm X said that in the early 60s when he was recruiting people to the nation from the church. He wanted to tell the people and the women in the church to come over to his temple because they would protect them, and they stood on that. But then it became a mantra and it became a self-fulfilling spirit because you cannot protect these women because they don't listen to you. They will not take wise counsel. And I guess because they were allowed to be so disrespectful in their own communities, and they used Me Too laws, and they did everything that they could to usurp power from the men in their community, that they forgot that there was a divine order, that there was already established rules that came with the planet. And again, you may say how this applies to Tiffany Henyard. If equality means we're all equal, then we all should suffer the same punishments when we make the same transgressions. Don't come out here and tell me that you're being attacked because you're black, or all your behavior is criminal and demonic, because it doesn't matter what color you is, because there's evil people in every camp. So at this point, this is the wrong time to be trying to colorize everything, because you're dealing with people's futures, you're dealing with people's lives. And some of you people, you just want money. You know, the drug dealer that sells all the drugs in the community and destroys a generation of his own people so that he can drive a nice car, should we protect him? The rappers that rap all day about taking out somebody that looks like them, should we protect them? Should we get between them and karma? Should we get between them and divine order? What is equality? Is equality being a woman who can join the military, but you never have to get on the front line? See, in the military, they will let women join the army, and you can be in the military, but they will never let you get on the front line and fight other men. They don't want you captured. They don't want you taken hostage so that you can be ransomed back. And because we got these females over here, you're going to let one of our soldiers free, and we'll give you this woman back. Give us three of our top soldiers that y'all captured, and we're going to give you this woman back. We can't allow that to happen in our culture. We can no longer allow the race baiting, because it's so entrenched in the psyche of this country that it's being exploited by the enemies of God in country. They're so distrusting, they're so prejudiced, they're so racist that we can rule them forever, because they're going to continue to fight each other. And then when a person steps up and say, no, let's divide the camps based on good and evil. If you evil, be over there. And if you not evil and you righteous, be over here. And let's handle it that way. But the excuses is over. Y'all let Fani Willis go up in the church and defile those churches and take those rostrums, because majority of those churches have become weak. They're weak. Then you look at a man like Mark Robinson, who's a pastor and lieutenant governor, and you want to call him all type of names. Mark Robinson is this, and because he's standing on the word, he's standing on principle. How about let's say he's standing on business with the things he say? We shall give no comfort and aid to the enemy. And a lot of these people who done got in political positions have become enemies to the people. They have become enemies to progress. And I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. This is for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary and educational purposes. And I'm standing on the First Amendment, so don't tread on me. Let's check this out.
True, she should step down from the 2 government positions she holds.
He told that to our Regina Waldrop, who was at tonight's Thornton Township Board Trustees meeting.
We in the news every single day.
Referring to herself as super mayor.
Hey, I'm the first super mayor.
Tiffany Henyard had lots to say during Tuesday night's Thornton Township Board of Trustees meeting, but she left without taking any questions.
To Vegas, mayor.
NBC5 obtained copies of complaints accusing Mayor Henyard and an unnamed Village of Dalton trustee of sexual harassment, retaliation, and discrimination, and the Department of Human Rights tells NBC5 it is investigating. The complaints are focused on what allegedly happened on an economic development trip to Las Vegas last May. The mayor's now former assistant claims she was the victim of an unwanted sexual encounter carried out by that unnamed Dalton trustee, and as a result, filed this complaint. According to her complaint, after having dinner with the trustee, she started...
I'm going to stop this for a minute. I know a lot of you have been watching the Fani Willis case. Do you see how Tim Bradley, the other lawyer, was caught up in the sex thing in the office, in the payoff? They're out of control. They're really out of control because they've been race baiting. They've been hiding behind dirty politics. Dirty politics. These Democrats have got you thinking that not only are you above the law, if you're a part of that party, you're above justice. And you can see him act, you can see him so arrogant and blatant in the face of justice. And I done seen real criminals, you know what I mean? Real criminals go to trial that do things. And they have to humble themselves in the face of justice. But not these people. They've been emboldened to where in the face of justice, they're still arrogant. They charged this woman with human rights violations, not civil rights violations, not breaking ethics codes and legislative policies, human rights violations. And she's arrogant. So at this point, the citizens, we want to see justice. We don't want to, no, we're not going for, oh, he's black and what, no. Because in both instances, the primary people that they're abusing is people that are black. And it's a wonder to me how people will keep not acknowledging that in Fulton County Jail under Fani Willis's watch, 19 black people died in custody in under a year. One of them was eaten alive by bed bugs. And y'all still talking about how she prosecuting Trump. Y'all still talking about the sister this and the sister that. 19 black people died in her jail while she was gallivanting around the country with another prosecutor. Why y'all don't want to talk about that? It's the same reason y'all want to talk about Joe Biden's. They're going to put you back in chains. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. You're going to turn my kids' school into a jungle and all the other racist things he said. You won't bring that up. I guess because you dislike Trump so much. That you would allow your children's future, your grandchildren's future to be destroyed by the evil machinations of a demonic party. Because you're so entrenched in race. Who taught you about race? What race are you? That you can ignore the fact that people are changing the gender of your children. A friend of mine is mad at me right now because I said, You go to church every Sunday, but you voting for somebody that will change the gender of your grandchild. And you okay with that. But you a cheater in the center anyway, so I guess you don't want to rock the boat. But stop going to church. Stop saying you're a Christian. Stop saying you righteous. Stop saying this when you won't stand up for justice. It's bigger than black and white. And you seeing with this lady how she's doing a whole city of people that look just like her. Listen some more.
Started to feel disoriented. Then she blacked out. The next morning, she woke up in the trustee's hotel room with no memory of how she got there, experiencing physical discomfort. Officer Byron Miles, who was part of Mayor Henyard's security detail at the time, also filed a complaint with the Human Rights Department. He also went on that trip to Las Vegas and says in his complaint, the trustee called him on the phone and told him he had unprotected sex with the woman. In the complaint, he says he recorded some of their conversation. According to both complaints, the woman says when she told the mayor about the incident.
Look how debaucherous they are. She went on a trip to Vegas. She took a cop and a trustee. The cop is talking to the trustee on the phone, and the trustee tells him about the encounter with the woman. He stops and starts recording to cover himself. But he's an officer of the court. But he thought enough to record the conversation and cover himself. That's dirty. Anytime somebody records your conversation when you're revealing something to them, they betraying you. And they showing a level of treacherousness. But this is her administration. And just like with Fani Willis, you want to say that these are black people? Look who they are abusing. They got so used to abusing people that look like them that they start reaching into other groups and other ethnic nationalities with it. As if that works on this planet. See, there's ebbs and flows of life, and there's rules and regulations. But some people, it doesn't click with them. Because somebody done told them that they were special. Somebody that told them they was above the law. Somebody that told them that they were something that they're not. They embrace the idea, but their character still reveals who they are. That's why you can look at Fani Willis when she's in court. She's arrogant and disrespectful in a courtroom, and that's her profession. That's like a person who say he's respectful, but he don't respect his own family and his own home. So his respect is a facade. It's not real. The real them comes out in their actions and in their behavior. And that's what we're seeing. And that's why we want them punished.
The mayor said if the information became public, she would be ruined, that all the work she'd done would be lost. The ex-employee says the mayor told her she would take care of it and to trust her. Days later, according to her complaint, the woman says she was put on unpaid medical leave without her consent and later terminated. At Tuesday night's meeting, Thornton Township trustee Christopher Gunn.
Think about that. This other black woman comes to her and says, I was assaulted. She puts her on a medical leave that she didn't ask for and then fires her. Doesn't that remind you what Fani Willis did? When a lady came and said, he's trying to use the funds for things that's not in the grant. Fani Willis said, I'm going to hire it, I'm going to handle it. And then she fired her. Luckily, the whistleblower recorded it. Do you see a pattern here? Is this your black girl magic for real? Because it is. We want that gone with Biden and his whole administration. We want y'all gone.
Gonzalez called the allegations serious.
It's just unacceptable. It's disgusting. I mean, if that's true, that there was an assault happened and then it was tried to whatever. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, but if there was attempt at a cover up or something like that, then like I said, yeah, that's just unacceptable.
Gonzalez says if the allegations made against the mayor are found to be true, she should step down from both of her positions as mayor and Thornton Township's.
Wait a minute. Step down. You covered up that assault and then fired the lady and then embezzled her. No. See, this is where y'all got it twisted. Fani Willis, it ain't about you being off the Trump case. We want you to answer for 19 people that died under your custody. And we want everybody that you attempted to prosecute, we want their cases looked into because clearly your judgment is poor. This is not about just losing your jobs anymore. We want y'all want equality. We want y'all to get the same punishment that they would give any man that was accused of doing the things that you've done. You deny wise counsel. You deny the ordinance of God. You have proven yourself to be wicked and evil. We want you punished. We want you more than to lose your job. I know a lot of people may not agree with me. They may not like it. People may even unsubscribe. I don't care. Because if I got to choose between what the government says and what God says, I'm going to go with what God says. And right now, we're looking at evil. We're looking at wickedness. We're looking at spiritual depravity in these people because they have no moral compass, because you can see the arrogance in their faces when they're confronted with their own actions. They have no humility in the face of being caught. They don't even got enough sense to understand that you have a First Amendment right to remain silent. That's how detached they is from reality. They don't even know to shut up.
Supervisor.
If all these things come to where they've been proven and action has been taken, I mean, I don't see how which could continue as a township supervisor.
As for Dalton, the village board is expected to meet Monday night at 6:30. Reporting from South Holland, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
More drama in Dalton tonight. Several trustees are calling on the mayor and another village trustee to resign.
Both are at the center of an investigation. NBC5's Regina Waldrop started working on this case 6 months ago. She joins us now with more on what she's learned. Regina.
Marion and Stefan, we obtained copies of complaints accusing Mayor Tiffany Henyard and an unnamed Dalton trustee of sexual harassment, retaliation, and discrimination. And the Department of Human Rights tells us it is investigating. At the center of it all, a trip they all took last year to Las Vegas and a sexual encounter one woman says was not consensual. There are 6 elected trustees on the Dalton Village Board. Some of them joined Mayor Tiffany Henyard last May on an economic development trip to Las Vegas. It was on that trip that the mayor's now former assistant claims she was the victim of an unwanted sexual encounter carried out by an unnamed Dalton trustee. She filed this complaint with the Department of Human Rights. According to the woman's complaint, after having dinner with the unnamed trustee, she started to feel disoriented. Then she blacked out. The next morning, she woke up in the trustee's hotel room with no memory of how she got there, experiencing physical discomfort. Officer Byron Miles, who was part of Mayor Henyard's security detail at the time, also filed a complaint with the Human Rights Department. He also went on that trip to Vegas and says in his complaint, the unnamed trustee called him on the phone and told him he had unprotected sex with the woman. In the complaint, he says he recorded some of their conversation. According to both complaints, the woman says when she told the mayor about the incident.
Complaints. With all these allegations and complaints and documentation, why isn't anybody arrested? You got this race baiting to the point to where you can't even hold people accountable. Because how is this racist when everybody who's making their complaint is a black person? These are the black Democrats. This is how black Democrats do each other. This is what they do to each other. Fire each other, lie on each other, throw each other under the bus. They all snakes. That's why they like to race bait. And they like to confuse the issue. The issue is, if she was assaulted and then the police officer gets a statement from the trustee to the point to where he records the trustee and then he makes a statement, what's going on in that city? Well, there's a mayor. Look at Fani here in the background, in court, looking a hot mess. 19 people lost their lives in her jail. 19. And I'm going to keep saying 19 families. Even a young woman died in her jail of mysterious causes while she's taking trips with Nathan Wade. And we're worried about her in court. That's pitiful. 19 lives. Nobody else is talking about 19 lives in under a year. One building and 19 people die in that building in 1 year. And she is still proud and arrogant and walked in that court and says she represents justice. Look at these people. And they still playing a race card. No, that's not going to work this time. That's not going to work for nobody this time. Everybody get what they hand
The
called
mayor
for.
said if this information became public, she'd be ruined. All the work she'd done would be lost. The ex-employee says the mayor told her she would take care of it and to trust her. Days later, according to her complaint, the woman was put on unpaid medical leave without her consent. She was later terminated. Trustees Tammy Brown, Kiana Belcher, and Brittany Norwood did not go on that trip to Vegas.
Hold on. Now we're going to see what kind of racism this is. These are 3 black women standing up for another black woman, and they can't get justice. Why can't the 3 black women we finna see get justice? Because they got a Democratic mayor that's black, just like Chicago and just like New York and Philadelphia. Everywhere they are is chaos and destruction. But we can't say that because it's racist to say that. We can't hold them accountable because they're women. Hell no.
By a show of hands, how many of you knew about these allegations? They tell NBC5 they're stunned to learn about the investigation by the Department of Human Rights and the allegations made by the mayor's former assistant.
That could have been any one of us. That could have been either trustee. That could be anybody. I'm furious. This makes no sense. I'm hurt and I'm furious. That means that these people have known about this for some time. It's almost a year later.
The biggest fear is always, how far is this going to go before someone gets hurt? And now I feel like this is what it's come to.
The trustees say the mayor should have immediately launched an investigation. They're calling on the mayor and the unnamed trustee to resign.
For you to cover up something like this, allegations of someone doing this to someone, is horrible. And you cannot leave the village of Dalton under these circumstances. Everybody involved, if you hold a position, you should resign immediately. There's already enough shame being brought to this.
Wait. Racism. It's racism. Look who's talking. Why can't they get justice? Because she's a Democratic mayor? Because she's a black woman? What is being on code to you people? You know, they get in my comment. People get in my comments, and they always want to talk about Trump. And then I look and I ask them, you got to be the biggest sellout in history to vote for Biden again. This country is in shambles, and everybody they put in position or allowed to rise to a position of prominence in this country under them has showed corruption and a disregard for the law and human life. But we're not supposed to say nothing. Why? Because they look like us. So they should get away. They don't look like us, for real, for real. They tools of the enemy. And anytime you infiltrate it, they got to send somebody disguised as one of you. But this is racism. Let's look at these black women talk.
How much more? How much more?
In a statement, Trustee Jason House says he did not go on that trip to Vegas. NBC5 reached out to the 2 remaining trustees for comment, but didn't hear back. The Village, in a statement, told NBC5 it conducted a thorough investigation into these allegations led by an independent third-party company. The statement goes on to say former police officer Miles was interviewed and denied knowing anything about these allegations, and the alleged victim refused to cooperate with our investigation. The statement continues, this is nothing more than 2 disgruntled Village employees trying to make off with the taxpayers' hard-earned dollars. The Village looks forward to defending these allegations and pursuing all other available remedies to the Village. To clarify, Byron Miles is still a Dalton police officer. Now, we asked the trustees if Officer Miles should have done more if he knew an unwanted sexual encounter occurred. They told us there's...
He recorded the call and he took the statement. He's still trying to save himself. They like rats scurrying from a sinking ship. At first, he said he didn't know nothing about it. Now that it's getting thick, he got the recorded phone call. Now he got a statement. But you already said you didn't know nothing about it. But now all of a sudden you got a statement. You got you recorded the conversation. They liars. We seen Nathan Wade in the debacle down in Georgia with these liars. They lie and then they get caught in their lie. I would respect them more if they took the fifth and shut up.
Still digesting the allegations, and NBC5 did reach out to the attorney for Officer Miles and the alleged victim for a statement. Marion and Steph, has still a lot of work to do with this story.
All right, Regina, we know you'll be on top of it. Thank you so much.
The misuse of funds is among the many allegations discussed in South Suburban Dalton today. Residents got a chance to tell Village trustees what their concerns are, including a multi-million-dollar deficit and multiple lawsuits the Village is facing. NBC5's V. Wen has the story.
Dozens of Dalton residents filled this room at Lester Long facility Saturday morning for an event with the trustees. The special guest speaker, Dr. Nicole Scott.
We just got to keep pushing forward.
She's the founder of American Association of Single Parents and says she's been running into problems with the Village over plans to renovate her property downtown and to expand their food pantry, Free Indeed Market.
Last year alone, we served over 20,000 individuals, and we need to expand, and they will not allow us to do that.
Since last July, she's been trying to get approval for permits and licensing from the Village with no movement, she says, and now believes Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her administration may have special interest in her property.
I think their goal and hope is to take the property from us to get it through eminent domain.
NBC5 reached out to the Village of Dalton asking about Scott's specific case. The Village administrator telling us in a statement, quote, "We are deeply disturbed by Dr. Nicole Scott's false allegations. She has not fulfilled the requirements in order to secure permits by the Village of Dalton under the Village Code." He goes on to cite property tax issues and says the property has also failed multiple inspections.
What they're saying is not true. It took them 6 months to tell me that the things that I submitted were not sufficient. And I think that that is a stall. That is them trying to, wait me out.
This comes amid allegations from residents and trustees over Henyard's misuse of public funds, lavish spending, and mispayments to vendors. Several trustees telling NBC5 the village faces a growing $7 million deficit and multiple lawsuits. Some residents voiced their frustrations and concerns over the current administration.
Yes, we need to take the heart and put it back in dollars.
Not only is it not entertaining, it is an injustice to the people who don't know. We need to take our village back.
Meanwhile, Dr. Nicole Scott says she is trying to raise money.
But we saying this is racism. Everybody in that room was black. And then the lady just spoke. She sounded like Trump. She said, we need to take our village back. Huh? Take our country back. Huh? MAGA what? Who? Ain't a white person in that room. Let's stop it. Let's get all these people to justice. They all should face justice. Regardless of color, creed, religion, nationality, place of origin, whatever. This is about God and country. And we want these migrants up out of here. Peace. Santa to you out of Detroit. Keep y'all head on a swivel. Like, share, and subscribe.